Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Let's see. I know Whatever's been doing a bunch of stuff. Oh, I need actually I need to update all my local files myself. Git fetch. Git. Git fetch. And then we have minor gems. And I don't even know if I need data unless I'm building releases, which usually, but so far it's been easier just to copy my regular game folder to get all the updated stuff. And then look at the GUI. I wish I could go straight to the browsers. That's pretty much all we ever do. And then STG is creating lots of spam. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have a way to browse just that branch. Maybe if I set myself to that branch. Merge readme, prove death messages. Yeah, he's doing specific IDs. For the bowl, and also we have to deal with players at some point. He's actually dealing with that in two places. Ah, fence gates to close doors. Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is him again. No, is this? No, this is recent. Death messages. Players in range. Show only first names. Pick up baby button. Press H in game text while being born. I might be allowing an option. Help page scale. Key listener more strict. Okay, command key and shift key. Okay. Draw names without people. If it's eight, yeah, this is probably about where we were looking before. Okay, so no, I don't think there's maybe some things I could possibly want to reference, but nothing super new there. Now, I did want to do a quick look through, because I do have, well, I guess the first thing, let's see, so this is server, website, server, transition bank. This is game source, but it might be, it's not anything I touched. Object bank, server, server. So I don't think protocol is going to affect me too much. I don't think. View center. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else we need to worry about there. I do want to check for conflicts, and I want to clean up some patches, and then I'll get back to a keyboard interaction. How many windows? Oh, this is the patches. I was doing some updates there. Or that I was versioning the one change. All right, so STG series. I need to rebase this onto and see if there's any conflicts. Okay, so that's clean. Now, I was cleaning up some of this stuff, so it looks from the order like I'd already redone drag drop on top of, yeah, use at. Move to. Wait. That has nothing to do with drag drop. Okay, there's a use at, but we've somehow picked up some of our action keys. So now I'm wondering, did I get completely off of this? Oh, wait. Where did all of my other interaction refactoring go? Because I thought that was interaction modes. Move to, move near, use at. Yeah, okay. So I think I did some of the stuff in drag drop. And then I added some more of the interaction functions into this. Okay. So I messed up a bunch. How do we fix that? So I pretty much need to remove the keyboard interactions. Well, interaction modes adds a bunch of new functions. Living life page. Actually, I don't know. How is there any shortcuts for that? There were other pages for this, weren't there? Okay, so he does look better, bad in high contrast. As many pages do. Creating another patch. Is there any easy way to move stuff between patches? Rebasing a patch series, importing patches. I mean, we could export them, remove them, re-import them. Inspecting patches, changing the patch series, you can combine. But how would you split? Oh, isn't there, like a way to, like, spill a patch? Because then you've got the git diff for all your changes. Delete, edit, export. Import a patch. Reset patch stack to an earlier state. Applied patches modifying a file. Oh, no, it was an option to one of the things. How about pop a patch keeping its modifications in the tree? That takes it off, keeps it in the series. Okay, so that would be a way to move things down. All right, so interaction modes. Needs to move this stuff down. So I may have to pop, spill, stash, pop again. Oh, wait. No, you've got that, and you've got interaction mode stuff. But, man. Now you've got, like, pendant patches. Yeah, and this, like, incorporates the other interaction mode stuff. Maybe I started editing the wrong patch here. Yeah, so there's like bits we want and bits we don't want. And I actually need to further separate some of this, because this is like currently a big mess of new code and old code. So if I spill it, All right, so drag drop is in fact based on the other stuff. I want to improve that. All right, let's think this might be some patch stuff for a little bit. So I want a new patch for interaction modifiers. STG new interaction modifier keys. Okay, so we moved up to there. There's nothing in here. And I need to rename this. Interaction. All right, so I want to... Because I actually want to remove the code from the other patch. So I might actually have to do this below that one. Because then I can spill it, apply it there. Okay. Just says deeper, doesn't say how deep. I think it might default to all the way to the bottom. Put sync patches below. Stink. Stinks all right. Okay, so we're on this. So the idea here would be STG. Okay, it did recognize that apparently. And we're on modifiers. So we want to remove everything. Okay, so we want to keep this. I want to keep that. I want to keep that. I want to keep that. We want to remove prepare for action message. And, let me just do a little backup here. STG status, STG export patches to dir instead of default. STG export. Okay. Unrecognized input. Okay. Unrecognized input. Well, okay, I don't know what that was all about. Is this only the applied patches? The other one is actually one of the things I want to back up. And I guess the others won't be in as much issue. Yeah, those are just kind of hanging out there. All right, so yeah, it's saying it failed, but unless I've used that before. Error unrecognized input. Yeah, because we're not getting new stuff. Well, fine. SDG series. I know that I did all my other backups. With git ignore. Craft tree explorations. What the heck? I don't think I've done anything to, other than possibly some updates. Git ignore to the default directory, and that's fine. Maybe because one of them is still blank? Or does it not handle the backup directory properly? Well, it does fail to export at that patch. All right, since we can specify specific patches. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't like the blank patch apparently. All right, so pop that off. Git stash pop. So that's fine. That's part of the stuff we want to remove. So we want to essentially, and I just want to take a quick look. Back up. Interaction modes. Yeah, still has everything. So prepare for, and this is stuff we actually need to move under a separate process. Prepare for action message. And we've got little changes to use at. Drop at did not exist. Remove at did not exist. Pointer down, interaction mode. Printf change. So this is from some debugging. Use on self was part of both of these, so that's fine. Okay, that's part of the interaction change. Equals interact move. Let's see, C key is part of that. A key should not be part of that at all. Yeah, I just got in the wrong patch here. F should not be part of this at all. So I'm not entirely sure what to do about that. And then all this stuff. So this is the stuff we're not... Wait a minute. We're trying to get stuff that is just the other thing. So yeah, like all... Well, the handle by case stuff, I guess, needs to be in here. Use on self button. That's the one from this mod. But then, like, A just shouldn't even be here. As much as that needs to be somewhere. Maybe we're okay leaving that in? And like F shouldn't even be here. But we're probably building on top of that patch. And then drop key didn't exist. And S key didn't exist. Or shouldn't exist. Or rather, it needs to get moved to a different patch. So that's part of this. And then living life page, living-life-page.h. So that leaves us with Okay, the use self key. And we've got A and F, which shouldn't be in here, but it's in previous stuff at this point. Alright, so that should be what we want to put into interaction modifiers. And then we push back to modes. Yeah, conflict. No, we're in the H file. So interaction modes did put this stuff back, but it looked like a conflict because we had this in there. Okay. I guess it can't diff because it's both modified. Prepare for action message. Drop at, remove at. Extra keys. STG series. STG refresh. Now, where the heck did my other stuff go? Okay, so drag drop picked up my key clicks. So while I'm on this patch, that should be a relatively easy thing to just pick up and copy paste. So this actually starts at lowercase v. We do VAF. STG refresh. STG push. All right. Edit. Actually, we got buffer notes, right? Oh, I already have some code in here. Make sure we don't lose that. Alright, so patched. Alright, so the patch included all of this stuff. And well, this is the older version. At least one of these had had an update to it. That was the only one? So this is all the interaction stuff, which should now not necessarily have the other keys. And actually, Want to kind of move this out of the way. Okay. I'm probably gonna have more conflicts dealing with that. But for now, yep. Load file. SDFA. Actually, so we don't need to copy it. It got brought in by conflict, apparently. Get status. Get refresh. Get add. Livinglife.cpp. All right, so STG series, I need to... So modifiers is kind of going away. STG... below... series. Okay, so now that's there. Now, I think I saw... yeah, so this is going to be kind of annoying as I have to kind of bounce between patches to do stuff, but this was kind of supposed to be like prepare, drop at, move at was sort of supposed to be in a different area. And I don't know of a good STG... Is there like a way to like copy a patch? I could export, I could export a patch to a diff, edit it up, and then apply it downstream and probably still have conflicts coming back. Which is kind of what the spill ends up being. So drag drop is using interactive refactoring interaction modes. I'm probably gonna have to keep working on that stuff. So maybe I need to wait to move that down. Because it is kind of annoying to bounce between patches as I expand that interface. Oh, I think drag drop does need an update. Yeah, so maybe I should wait on splitting that. So I think drag drop does need an update. Build Windows on Life 2.16. All right, we should be focusing a little bit more on gameplay stuff now. Oh, and this is a link to the old version. I probably could have updated the link as well. Missing destination file. Oh, yep. Oh, and I'm gonna have to change servers. Because my network has been getting all rearranged lately. Yeah. Did it possibly end up as local this time? No. So DHCP is not working great right now. So I want to ask this what its IP is. And 0 and 1. And 4. 202.40. Which I think I can actually just do here. And, jeez, I don't know what it is. Like, every time I update, there's another pig here. All right, so we were looking at... Yeah, I set this up to not do a drop, and I think I want to do that. Now, is that part of... I don't think that's part of UseAt. Oh, right, because I used to be using some code that was going through the pointer handler. So now I basically need to grab the code from my other thing. So they might end up having to consolidate that. So what was it? That's drop. And actually I think use still needs to be updated. Yeah, so this is saying don't do anything if it's 0. This would have to say turn it into a drop if it's 0. But drop is the thing I have not moved down there yet. Oh, actually, I need to do some playing around with how we detect when things have a bare tile transition. So this already has the map code. So it might be easier to go ahead and play around with that here. And then come back to drag and drop. All right, so this is a similar problem. Oh, how about we actually build the program? Well, no, that doesn't unconditional use, so it could be used for certain things. Wait. Okay, that works. Oh, right, because I exclude that. Then there are interactions, so I need to possibly do that. I have to decide if this action wants to do a drop here. But drag definitely does. So this is saying if dest ID not equal to 0. So like all of this was to exclude the blank tiles. Yeah, actually for this drop probably should be a drop. So if it equals, well, no, now we need to get into the pointer down stuff. Okay, so, but I need the drop command to fix up drag drop. All right. So we pop spill. Get stash. STG series. STG pop. So now we're on interaction refactoring. Get stash pop. All right, so pair fraction message, use at, drop at, remove at, and then we need to remove the actual keyboard commands, and then the header stays. What did we start with? Well, there's going to be some code here, but it's all the base game stuff. Yeah, so it actually was V. Okay, pair fraction message, use at, drop at, remove at. STG series, STG refresh. Let's go ahead and clear any. No, I want push conflicts. Okay, so interaction modes is fine. While I'm here, we've got our map lookup code. Alright, so use that as thing. We're holding something, we're not in motion. This is pointer up, yep. So there's our map lookup. Now I want to look at pointer down. Because we do a whole lot of, or he does a whole lot of object distinguishing. I think it's use on ground. Holding zero speed object that can't be used on ground. Use on ground transition or use on floor transition. So object record, food value equals 0, holding ID -1, a use on ground transition exists. Floor dest ID. Override the drop action. Override the drop action. Right, so he set this up as a drop by default. Mod click, dest ID equals 0. Action equals drop. So we check for this. If it's dest ID equals 0. We only do this if we're holding something. Oh, right, I did expand this code. So if dest ID is not equal to 0, it's a straight up use. Found alt, I think, is only used for these two cases here. If it has a food value, we don't consider that. Okay. So right now this is all dest ID not equal to 0, but we want to say, well, yeah, if dest ID is equal to, not equal to 0, just use it. Else, right, because we've got multiple conditions here. We get the trans record and that's why he did that thing, because we have to get this. Well, we could just remove that, right? This is re-getting the trans record. We do have to get the held object. Yeah, so we've got this whole series of conditions where we're doing some lookups along the way. Which is why we've got a Boolean for this. Ah! Hello, Best, something like that? How's it going? Yeah, I'm trying to work on some interactions, but like I have to make a few distinguishers to get reasonable options because of, well, I had a thing that did it by these little tweaks to the default routine, but I'm trying to move towards having things that are just actions, but you still need to do some of the distinguishing. So hopefully it doesn't get too nasty. I might be able to wrap these up more, but we'll see. So right now, I don't have a good way to avoid doing this Boolean thing, because we've got a test that precludes us getting this trans record. Well, no, actually, if food value equals 0, we're not going to set found alt. So we're going to come down here. Well, we only do it, yeah, if floor dest ID. So we're first checking if it's a bare ground transition. Then we need to check if it's floor dest. Well, can we just say, well, food value is equal to 0. If food value is not equal to 0, it could still have a floor dest ID transition. So we're always going to skip this. If food value is not equal to 0, oh, and for this logic to work, I need to get floor dest ID. Map floors. Dest ID, floor dest ID, I'm assuming it's going to be either int. So if dest ID is not equal to 0, we can interact with something. If now floor we only interact with if the space is still empty. And there's no use on ground transition. So we could say, if the held item has a food value, we might still do a use on floor destined. We might still use a floor, check a use on floor exists. So if food value is equal to 0 and we have this transition, Actually, these both end up doing override action to use. Oh, but they're different transition records. But no. This depends if a series of conditions that involves getting the bare ground transition. Yeah, I don't see an easy way to get around this. I mean, we could look this up every time. Then we could go straight through this series and else our way down into here. We potentially have to look up both of these cases, though. And this stuff still has to revert to, well, if dest ID is equal to 0, and none of these cases apply, we need to do a drop. And I'm not really overriding an action. We're not in a case we can break out easily. We're not in a place where we can return easily. But this might be the kind of thing where if this logic ends up looking similar for, well, no, because I don't necessarily want, I don't think I want the other one to drop. I need to do some experimenting with that. But it does need to check for these. And then we have to keep on checking this, because we then have to say, well, if all else failed, dest ID was 0. Not found alt. Our live object was not declared. Our live object, wait. Oh, it ended up being O here. Found alt was not declared. His brace style gets me every time. So maybe I could wrap up some sort of like intent to use. All right. No, actually, this is not that. This is just drag drop, which I don't even think I have that mod loaded. So we do here, we drop it. I think this is going to make more sense for drag drop. We do there. Use it. Okay, so the things that are interesting are baskets of soil. Well, this doesn't apply to drag drop as much as the other. Hmm. And the other one that we were testing, we need a, oh, nope, we need a boards. Stone wall with boards. Maybe that's how you set up a sign? And well, we've got a rock. We can actually get stakes pretty easy. I'm going to need an adds, though, because that's one of the things that has that transition. Oh, well, no. Actually, there aren't a lot of rocks around here. I can get the stakes easy enough. Of all the silly things to come short on. All right, so we can go. I guess I could have just made floor stakes. I did that before. And then this. Okay, so is this my weird interaction mode? This is something I'm going to have to test when I get to the regular game. Jason may have broken something. Because he was, I think he did do like some decay times and things. Or this could be a database issue still. No, this isn't the Windows server. This is a Linux server. Hmm. Well, that'll be something fun to figure out. If it proves to not be a bug in the game proper. Okay, so that will solve it for drag drop. Do I want to be able to wrap that code up at all? Because this is like, well, I need to return like a Boolean or something if it did something. Because this is like a... This is sort of a special case of use. Well, if the special case is dest ID equals 0. So it's still kind of what do you do with a blank tile? Oh, this only operates when you're doing something, so it's a little bit different here. I may have to leave these separate for now. So we have to get floor ID. STG series, STG refresh. We're going to leave them separate for now. See if maybe we can combine it later. STG push. Load file. So this would be, I think F is my use key. And that is in fact pretty much the same code. And this is where it's getting more verbose than I would like. Now this is a key press. So in this case, we don't assume that we're holding something. Oh. Or do we? Right, because we have to be able to use something for not holding something. But we were excluding blank tiles. This is only going to matter if we have a holding ID. And is this back to our live object? Oh. Do any of my other drop does? Yep. We do in fact have to fetch that. But we only have to fetch it if we're in this else case. It means we can't just else through it. And then we have to do another if. So we could potentially break on this. Or maybe we just consider that part of our much as I hate superfluous fetching. Holding ID. If we're holding something, we might be able to use it. And this one I do not want to, at this time, count as a drop. Okay, you're still alive. I don't know for how long. Okay. Okay. Basket. Drop. We can still drop it. Yeah, so we'll attempt to try something, but if you're just clicking on a blank tile, and drop is an action. So I think that's good for that. I did get my patches messed up the other day. STG refresh. And I feel like I'm going to want to pull this code out at some point, but I'm not super clear on how I do that right now. I might have something like use if usable or something. I don't know. Now there are additional other cases that I need to consider. Oh, yeah, this is where I go back to notes. Okay, so we should be done with this. And I think I assume we're done with this. Yeah, we did a little bit of that. I want this to be a little bit more of an intent. Use an empty tap tile dump basket of soil. Well, we got that. Bury and bowl feels backwards. And this is actually, I think, similar for some of the plates and things. So berries we can get. Bowl would be a bit of work. Oh boy. Oh. Uh-oh. What does the server think is happening here? Okay, sent bug. Yeah. Okay. Well, so actually one berry is enough. So if we use it, we pick up berry. If we remove from container, we pick up the bowl. And drop is generally a drop command. So how do we distinguish these? Now base game is figuring that out somehow to make it more like that. But I might have to consider like well, I mean, use with empty hand is pretty good for pickup. So as far as the game concerned, this is using the bowl, whereas use on an empty thing just ends up being a pickup. But then then container remove ends up being pick up the thing. This is part of how the protocol in the game developed. It's a little weird sometimes. But if we go back to Living Life page, oh man, this is going to be somewhere in pointer down. Remove from clothing container, or maybe it's just remv. Action equals remv for permanent container objects that have no bare hand transition. Okay, yeah, that was that special case. Allow right click to default to use if nothing else applies, or both bare hand and pickup applies. Our live object holding ID equals 0, num container slots equals 0. I think berry and bowl is not a container. Although it almost could be a container for small things. Well, but you can't mix and match. It's not permanent. Bare hand trans exists. It's not just a direct pickup transition. Leave something on the ground. Plate from a stack. Berry bowl. Yeah, so that makes the default action for that remove, and the alternate action use. Unfortunately, this is distinguishing between two commands. Why I do this, I'm going to have this distinguishing happen on two commands, because you need to have that alternate. So if dest ID not equal to 0, this is going to apply to the use command. So if dest ID not equal to 0, yeah, at some point I got tired of changing to the latest fashionable editor every few years. And since I knew this, I figured it'd be available anywhere. Our live object, okay, we already got that, cool. Holding ID equals 0. And it's not a container. And it's not permanent. So now well, this is actually sort of well, we just execute it. So use that. Now he has a default case. There's like a bunch of ifs here. This isn't mod click. This is just this action does this. But now we have to consider the else case. And this is more like a found alt kind of situation. Because we have to keep hitting all these preconditions, then look up a record, do more preconditions. This is barehand only, so it shouldn't affect our drag drop case. But now we're looking at a found alt kind of situation again. Because we have to burrow down through so much stuff. You can't just else it. So maybe these things need to be like functions that can like attempt something. And then we have to find the appropriate level to say so looking up transitions is probably somewhat expensive because it's a relationship between two objects. So you don't want to just look it up every time. Actually, we don't really need split screen too much. I should make that look a little bit better. Okay, so this is the bowl. Okay, so pick up, drop. Oh, right, this is a separate command, so we have to do it separately. That did pick up the bowl. I don't know, found alt actually kind of works for this. This is going to change around when we get to the other case. So the case in which... Oh no, we need to remove that. So this is already doing some distinguishing. So remove from a blank doesn't make any sense. Wait, is this? Right, because this drop ends up being a swap if it is a thing. So this is going to use at if it is this special case. Else it is going to remove at. And then the duplication of code here, you kind of see why he was doing it the way he was. We can probably wrap these up somewhat, because this is like a test we could do, and then it turns into if this else. So this would be like well, right, this completely describes holding ID equals 0, so this is unnecessary. Oh, let me get duplicated. Maybe this becomes like a... And it's not just a pickup. So this is like a test for has special bare hand transition or something. Okay. And then that picks up the berry. Right, because in a container... Well, those are the same objects, so it doesn't really make any sense. I think this actually keeps berries around. Yeah, and then the remove does the swap, which is implemented as a drop, I believe. So what we're seeing here... I think I might need to turn my energy settings down. Give me at least a little bit long before we blank the screen. So if I am sitting here... Oh. Yeah, so that's interpreting that as a drop. Well, remove is kind of a pickup. So I guess that sort of makes sense to be an action there. Might have to see if there's some other ones that I don't care for as much. Oh, like how about stacks of bowls and things? That was the other one. Oh, you were actually pretty good health. Yep. All right. Okay. Okay, so something I'm doing is not setting proper state right when we start up. That does get set by the pointer down. Okay, so pick up that, drop the stack, pick up that, pick up a bowl. Drop. Okay. Okay, so right click does swap the stack in base command. I should... Okay, so that's the drop command. No. I want to drop this, pick up one. That's remove. So drop command... Well, I mean, that drop usually means get this thing out of my hands. And if it's swapping, well, you get the other thing. So the net effect of that is pretty good. Remove from. Drop doesn't do anything. Pick up, drop. There's probably some other special cases. So we've already had to do this twice. What we do with this information is different. This is probably drop. And then we've got this stuff, which is a little bit common as well. Let's refresh this for now. What are we looking for? We're looking for any kind of use on ground, use on floor. So the result of these is the same. The result of these is we should do a use. So this is like usable on empty tile. I mean, technically it's use on ground and use on floor. I don't know. If that is, if we ever have a reason to distinguish those, or use on floor. This is the drop code. This, I think, is what I copied. No, yeah, this is mine, actually. This is pointer down again. No, yeah, this is pointer down. This is probably our basic condition. Of course, it looks like it does use on floor sometimes. So there's the found alt. This is pointer down. Pointer up where I copied the code. Key down. So we've got use on ground, use on floor. And we've got bare hand as a special case in terms of determining what command we want to give. Well, we could skip the rlive object if we don't include this check. So it's actually very simple checks. It's, well, okay, so it gets bigger because of the comments. It's very simple checks, but it does get expansive doing it all the time. All right, well, I'm going to take a break, and I think I might want to refactor this, even if it's a little bit of extra function calls. I'll be back in a few minutes. Will very often be compiled in production deployments. Here I am not compiling it, in part because the game itself shipped with a feature that included it that way. But one of the there's a peculiarity in the way that interacts with the runtime environment here, where refreshing the page, all those file fetches will still be cached. Thankfully, the debugger has a feature to disable cache.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. If we dig this out, fertilizers are off. Yeah, these fertilizer synthesizers are turned off. That's intentional, because we didn't. We've got this section, and that one's going pretty strong. As far as it goes, the only reason they're all active right now is because we had a backup in the bathrooms. Usually they barely run.
In doing carrot farms so far tonight, and a big part of that has been that this game's really goddamn overwhelming, and I just didn't know what I was doing. But there's a lot of... Okay.
Hi, time. If I were a steak, I'd be right in front of me. So yeah, usually when I start a little farm and all that,
¿Hay alguien en el punto?
Sí, una fara.
Ah, que tiene la skin de... Ah, qué fuerte. Yo quiero esa.
¿Cuál? ¿De qué?
La que no tiene, la de Symmetra. La de... Esa es Symmetra Warframe, totalmente. Es Symmetra Lotus.
Sí, Symmetra Oasis, vale.
Espérate, te voy a enseñar.
Vale, como tienen... Claro, tienen una fara para mis cosas.
Welcome back. Yeah, this is getting big enough that it's obscuring what's going on. And we've also got all this map lookup stuff. I might want to do some other abstraction to the level of Okay, F is intent to use at such and such location. But I think it is a little bit different than what I'm doing with the drop. See, it's like can't really combine that stuff. But like this stuff, so this basically is going to resolve to a true false. We do have to consider the holding case. So this is something we want to well, we'd have to pass it dest ID. Is that the only thing it needs? Yeah, so it's a question about an object. So we've got that. We've got has bare hand, has special bare hand transition. It's not just a pickup. All right, so if we are at rest, we go up here. Oh, no, STG pop. Go to drag drop. Go to drag drop or to refactoring. So up where around use at. We've got like prepare for action message. We've got move to gonna be very unhappy about that. Living life page.h. This is, and I don't know if I actually need this function. Actually, if we assume that bare hand is already checked, I might not need this to be a member function. Has special bare hand transition. So we've got, yeah, we're going to close the function. And this is the case where something special happens, and in all other cases, we return and that's right, we had to assume right, he likes to do this style of dest ID. Oh, right, because we copied a so we don't need to have a forward declaration of that if we only use it afterwards, which may or may not be the case. All right, so now STG series, we should be on refactoring. We'll have to go grab the other stuff separately, I think. So this did not actually apply to drag drop. Load file. So now we can say if dest ID not equal to 0. Now we do still have to consider holding ID. Oh, yeah, okay, so we've got this. This gets into our other case as well. So and has special bare hand transition. So this is the only found alt here, so we can pretty much do this as an else. And then our other one, we drop. No, it's remove. If holding ID equals 0, okay, and then that was there. All right, so this is all the berry bowl stuff. I also want to make sure that things work in the typical case as well. So pick up berry bowl, drop berry bowl, pick up berry from a berry bowl. Okay, so our other special case. Now this is the one that is going to cover on. We also need floor ID. Held object, food value. Well, we need floor dest ID. And the held object. Held has Held has empty, because we've got use on ground, we've got use on floor. We're kind of checking for both. STG, no, it's pop. Okay, so... And then we're going to have something very like this, hopefully. Um... yeah, it's one level of indent, and then we need our closing function. So holding ID, holding ID, return true, and now, since we can do it the early return, we don't need the found alt. Oh, but it's not dest ID, it's floor dest ID. Alright, well, these could almost be pulled out to two separate functions. Has use on ground, has use on floor. But for the most part, this just going to tell you, okay, you can use this thing on the ground. Oh, is that right? The brace style still messes me up. Yes, that's right. Okay. This is pointer down, which... I probably could convert that. Oh, right, because it doesn't have any of the uses for it yet. I did abstract, like, move and such in some cases. So if we just pass holding ID and floor dest ID, then if true, it becomes action equals use. So I'm torn on this one because on one hand, this is stuff that wouldn't have any conflict if he makes changes. On the other hand, I kind of want to know if he makes changes. So this would turn into has empty. What is it? Dust floor, floor dust ID. And hey, how about we actually do something with this? And the code that would go here would be the action equals use. And I believe this is everything that we just duplicated. Yeah, because that's all this is doing. The other one had a little bit of remove update. What? Okay, some stuff I could maybe clean up there. Our live object holding ID. Maybe this is actually in the other code. Oh, right, we didn't we didn't update this one. 19739. Oh, we have to close out the if and the function call. Alright, so regular clicks. I don't know if this is my server or if this is something in the game that broke with the latest update. I guess it would be if I couldn't update my floor database. Actually, is this inability to make further updates to floor database? We've got plenty of boards. I got some stakes around here somewhere. Yep. Huh. So now my Linux server is actually having the database update issue that the Windows server was having. And maybe that explains the bores too. But it's not the version of Linux that Jason's using. Okay. Oh, and has empty tile transition. Copied some white space from the original source. Although I guess this would make it look better like a translocation. All right, STG series. So this means I might have to actually pull in the server patch into my patch set. No, then I'd have to build... right now my server doesn't apply any patches. mean, there are other things I have to check with the Docker environment, like, am I doing something weird with the floor database? Although, let's see if that's a general problem. 23 map cells were set. All right, so if we restart the server, the floors are there and the items aren't. Yeah, so I'd say we're having the database write problems on the Docker server. All right, so now that was the thing that we were using in drag drop. Uh, so this is saying if it has that, else if not. Else if has empty tile transition. Use that. Else, use that. If not that case, it's a drop. And then that should be... Oh, did I fall out of JSON style? No, that's the... should be the mouse held. Okay. So these could actually be combined now. They're a little bit clearer. But that works. So if this is drag drop, all my objects got reset. And this is the case where I specifically need baskets and adds and things. All right, so our floor database is busto right now. But we see that that works. Oh, no, that was not drag drop. Okay, yeah. And this is a little bit weird. Doing it with the basket, because we have to get through the full, and then we have to arrange to drop it. So we can drag it. Okay. SDG refresh. All right, so now you are doing this thing. So if it's holding something and has empty tile transition. Actually, you know what? That incorporates this. So we almost don't need to consider that. Floor dest ID. Then we use, and there is no alternate to this. We just, if it's a transition, we use it. And then we don't do anything if there's not. Oh, we actually have two of these here. No, okay. So remove had the bare hand transition case. That's what was duplicated there. That made me especially want to fix that up. All right. So this was has empty tile. Or no, this was the bowl. That was has special. This is has empty tile. Yeah, okay. All right, notes. Berry and bowl backwards, and we refactored that. So we need more keys to be fully useful. Auto run I can still get, screen lock I can still get. I might want to think about allocating things as actions, but so if I'm in keyboard mode, actually interacting with people is one of the things that bothers me a little bit. Or that I miss. So this might look a little bit like use. We're not going to care about the map though. FDS. I think I was doing these alphabetically amongst myself. Alright, screen to world, click dest. I might need that. I don't think I need the map. Well, it's going to be something. It might be a new function. We're going to want to transition down. Jump to case label. All right, let's see. So pointer down, where do we hit other person? Oh, so we have to do... Yeah, I was skipping all the hit detection. If hit other person... Oh, we have to consider this as well. I can't heal. Use on baby. Wait a minute. It's just... Well, it does say hit other person ID. That probably allows you, so you can just do pick up person on location. Hit other person ID allows you to click target more if there's a bunch of people in one place. And what did use at? Because it's an at. Well, use that ended up being special because we want to be able to like stand next to things. But like drop at, next action dropping, remove at, was as much for parity as anything. So yeah, we'll go ahead and prototype this here. So clothing index. So it's supposed to send that. What did, do I have that in the alt folder? What did the keyboard patch do? It just didn't even send it. Okay. Now he does appear to be doing... Oh. Okay, so ID is optional for distinguishing. Taking on a baby to pick them up. They are dropped with the normal drop action. Extra ID specifies person to pick up. A special case of self applied to baby to feed baby food and or remove clothing. Well, I think removing clothing got taken out, kinda. Only putting on clothing. For healing wounded players. Action where held item is used on another player. For historical reasons. So I would have to do the hit detection if I wanted to have the distinguishing ability. And I keep forgetting to do this. So this is going to be baby. And then we have to add this to livinglifepage.h for now. Until we port it out. And then he had, or Zed, I think, used C for also the use on player. Which ends up being used on other. Living life.cpp, which actually would allow you to do the heal, just not as complicated as base game condition. And this needs a -1 to say not specifying a target. I probably did that. And then oh yeah, because it's always at a location. So we need the click dust. Use on other at. And then, well, you can't pick up a baby if you're holding something, right? For holding nothing, try to pick up a player there. If we are holding something, attempt to use on a player. Too far away from baby, we should execute use baby. Close enough to use on baby, we'll use on baby from where we're standing. Wait, where is this? Oh, this is pointer down. We're doing a... Well, it says hit on another person already. But it looks like we're going through the game objects again. Oh, that was saying we hit somebody. Now we have to see how far away we are. But we should already have a target pause, right? Oh, object. Our object. Oh, this is the object we are viewing. And we're not in motion. And is grid adjacent. So we're finding target pause. And then we're using the clicked hit as the distinguisher, but still sending it by location. Oh, and this is use baby. Or you other. Trying to pick up baby. Use on baby later. We're looking through the game objects again. Oh, so we're actually looking at the object and seeing if they're pick-upable. Hmm. Of course, now I need to get another player in here and run through enough Eves that we're actually getting babies. There's one down. All right, be another player. That's a baby. Okay, we're holding something, so we're gonna try to use baby another player. And then drop still works. Because that is like use on player is the key. So drop is probably fine. You kind of got to remember to switch. So this is unconditionally moving. Which is where it would be useful to do a hit detection to see if there's people there, to see if check for pointer hit other person. Placing people in this row. So this is doing some very particular distinguishing. So maybe on this one it would be worth doing check for pointer hit specifically just to reuse the player detection code. And the only problem is, well, that sets hit and object false. Are there any interactions here? There's another one here. What if someone is standing behind it? Well, that might work. Now, in X, in Y are like actually our pointer values. And I need to have a pointer hit record. I don't necessarily want to duplicate all the logic for checking for a person, even though I only care about people. So we've got that. We've got click dest. So I think pointer is going to be last screen. Okay, don't care. I mean, arguably we got a slot index out of that. Actually, this would allow me to do click distinguishing. That's really the only thing we really care about. And then... yeah, this entire case is... if not, P dot hit other person. No, I want to know if there's a person there. Or near. Min dist that hits. Okay, so that's just a 2-tile thing. Get closest object part. Well, let's hit an object. Held by someone else. So this is draw. Maybe copy some draw code? Yeah. Because I do want it to just be, I didn't really test if it was like anywhere near the tile or if it has to be actually on the person. Well, that's testable. But I want to log into my parent. Oh, baby was too fragile. All right. Okay, so I can't, even with that, oh, no, I haven't done any testing for yet. I'm just tile. Server sorts out, which is, but what I want is that we don't wander around. Actually, what I should have done is picked up the baby, so it's still around. So if we do this, oh, are these world coordinates? Or a pointer has to be a screen, right? All right, so now I cannot click on the tile anymore. Also saves me from doing this. Nope. Wait. Oh. I can't pick it up at all. So, do I have to initialize all the other fields for this logic to work right? Does not seem to reinitialize anything else, does it? Or I might be doing the wrong coordinates. That might be more likely. So let's try world mouse X. Okay, now the question was, that does not let you get near a person. Hmm. So I don't really care about the map. Checking next. People in this row. So this is held by drop offset. D equals 1 held by drop offset not equal to 0 equals 0. And not p hit. Click offset. Person click offset, get closest object part. Okay, so this is in fact hmm. Hey, Lux Master, I am trying to add a bit of a keyboard mode to 1 hour 1 life. Actually, it's getting yeah, I might have to fine tune this later. So I think I'm going to not do this. So and just if I miss, I'm going to walk. We'll deal with that. So this is the source is put out mostly public domain. It is available, so there are a couple people that do their own custom little mods. I started doing an auto run feature. No, it is 1 Hour 1 Life by Jason Rohrer. So that is, it's normally a very multiplayer thing. I've actually got another player kind of faked in here. So, wait, what did I? Oh, you got too old, that's why. We're trying, it's not working. So now I'd get in another, well, we're pretty sure this works. Yeah, so I started modding it to get an auto run because I didn't like clicking as much, and now I am often frustrated by ambiguity in where you click. So backpack would be one of the more useful ones. Oh, and we've got this on a key. Examine is one I want to do, but that might be a little bit trickier. The other thing I had protocol. This, where is, specifies the, yeah, that gets into the fancy pants stuff. And I think that also, I've kind of been going by this as a guideline for at least starting commands. We'll see how it feels. So that's very, well, I guess that being far away from used players is probably a good thing. But that would be very easy to add with what we've got. It's just we'll have to go back and make comparable changes when we do I'll do people things. Oh, I need to move that command down. Well, I got one more command now. Now, arguably, this could be considered a use on other, but kill is a protocol command, so we will go ahead and make that a very, very explicit thing. Because you don't want to do that by accident. So the only way you can kill somebody is if you're holding something. Oh, well, I might have to check the protocol to see if there's a separate command for heal and use other. Is where the other player becomes useful. Alright, so use another. Nope. Yep. Alright, so... well, I'm gonna have to do this stuff. So get the key command. Then... spill that. Git stash. Alright, so that should pop drag drop. Get stash pop. So we want those changes. I guess I should be clean. Well, we can clean up as we do this. And then all the keyboard stuff. Is not part of this patch. So I've been kind of copying some white space errors here. Okay, so STG refresh. Maybe the walk to person code is different than the walk to object code. STG push. STG push. Oh, right, because I changed some spacing, so we want to keep the one with the cleaned up white space. Make sure everything's still good. And I mean, those function calls would just fail if there was no person. So, and there is, I still want to do stuff with that. Oh. Buffer notes, person is Q for now. Examine could be a thing. I think backpack. Yeah, well, backpack was a specific, so it means you don't have a thing for the other pockets. And I did not like how that worked. This might end up being fidgety. But I think these are essentially protocol commands. But those would be some of the big wins. Alright, so we still got this up. And we still got that something about like the initial state. When you first load in. Alright, so that is a self with a backpack specifier. That is a srem with a -1 and backpack specifier. And then a swap is a drop command with a clothing specifier. So I don't know what a drop command with a clothing specifier and no objects. If you had a thing in your hand. But this does. Oh, it's self, but we already have a self command. So we're going to assume this is going to stay G, and then cycle in backpack. Because you need to be able to put into backpack, and you need to be able to cycle in backpack. So that was put in, take out. Oh, take out is srem, drop. And it's determining what commands to send based on the state of things, which might actually get default clothing slot is backpack. And okay, yeah, that's just holding ID, which is an easy one to do. So I can get that, and then drop would be the yeah, so you have take out, you have swap, and you have drop. And we have separate keys for those when it is an item. Do I make those shift keys? Because the thing is, a backpack key without the ability to dig for stuff is not super useful. So S and F and D would be... So this is self. Oh, I never did a send self command. So we've got D and D. We've got, oh, there's an S. I think we had both Fs. Because to truly capture intent, well, empty hand, pick up, and drop are the same thing. So we'd only need one other button. Backpack, pick up. I mean, we could just assign something for now. So one of these is going to be self. EFG. And these are getting way too big. And the self command was with a 5. But we actually have to see, so self is the put in. sremv is the remove. Okay, so if we're holding something, self puts it away. If we're not holding something, it's an sremv. 5 negative 1 or negative 1 5. 5 negative 1. And then if we just go over 1, we want to, well, let's try just doing the drop and see what happens. Yeah, H actually isn't a super convenient key. Oh, I could go up 1. Alright, backpack, in, out. Okay, so put it away. Okay, so swapping does nothing. So what if we did use is go up one. I mean, technically the putting away is use on self. And that's actually... but it's with a clothing specifier. So that could be the down... oh, no, because C... because I could go down instead. Well, X is actually a little awkward to get there. And then drop would be... no, actually drop is put away. No. Oh, E is a special key already. For E key down. Okay, so that's not going to work as a solution. So for now, we go with the G and we just go up for that, and then I'll have to see about the E alt, and maybe I have to move that. And then I don't have anything for... well, I guess backpack is always like removed from container, isn't it? Equivalently. So you have removed from container. Which is a backpack. Drop in container, which is a backpack, and pick up, it almost pick up the backpack itself. Remove from container, remove from container. Notes. For now it's T. Alright, so remove from backpack. Okay, a self does not put it away by itself. So we've got one thing fine. Nope, it's not H anymore. So I think I want that to act more as a remove, in which case if we're holding something, drop it. Else if we're not holding something, oop. Oh, yeah, you're getting old. Okay. In, out. Oop, I moved that key. So that is always removed from backpack. This is put in backpack, but also take out of backpack. Which I guess works. And then we're going to have to reconsider assigning those keys. And we didn't get to examine, which is a fun one. You can examine some things that will otherwise have interactions. But that might be some weird code to set up. And I did not extract routines for this currently. Which might be a thing we want to do. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit more drag drop testing and lots of keyboard testing. Make sure we're built. Oh, and built and copy one life. All right, that is it for now. I would like to have lunch and then come back later to actually play the game, see how, let's see, we just kind of improved some code and interactions with a few things. We got the person key, which is going to be important. And backpack. Those are two of my big problems, and I'm going to reconsider keys and specific behaviors. Oh, I never did anything for auto run. So that's going to have to stay on the mouse. But, thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting. What do we got? So there's the schedule. Okay, I got that video out of the way. I am moving Tuesdays and Thursdays out of my schedule for now. At least. Okay, so none of that. You have any other... Not a whole lot of coding going on. So how about... I see somebody cool playing Oxygen's Not Included. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, Patine DK is someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.